Okay, hello. A fistful of dollars. Um, huh. This is for the upcoming, right? We're going to do the prediction first. The upcoming day of the 19th of May for Donald Trump having another fake assassination attempt. This time being shot in the heart. Okay. And then we maybe see one of his sidekicks actually um, get killed. Okay, and I'm thinking Marco Rubio for that bit of fakery there as well. Okay, so let me show you. We're on A Fistful of Dollars, Clint Eastwood, yeah, the classic film, and from this film they lift the idea of um, the bulletproof vest and use it in Back to the Future. Okay, and specifically in Back to the Future 3, but it's also used in the first film as well when Doc is shot by the Libyans. Okay, so because why? Because he cheated them out of a nuke. Okay, just the same way as old Don is trying to cheat the Iranians supposedly out of getting a nuke. Okay, all right. Anyway, so I mean there is an absolute ton to get through here, and I'm all over the place with this. I mean there's absolutely a ton of connections. It's like a couple of days ago I had very little to do. I mean I had a couple of little connections, and then suddenly it's just a big avalanche of stuff. Okay. Anyway, a couple of things to note before we even get into this. The important thing is in the film, if you've ever seen the film, Clint Eastwood's wearing the piece of steel plate as a bulletproof vest, and he says to old Ramon, whatever the hell his name is, got to shoot for the heart, okay? And so there's this heart reference, and again in Back to the Future, Marty's the shot that actually I've got it right here. Let's go to it. This is after Marty's already been shot. And don't forget, Marty has now taken the place of Doc getting shot in the head on the 5th of September, 5/9 numerology. And I'm still seeing, so this kind of decode and this prediction we kind of already were looking at it for the 9th of May. And I keep getting more stuff for the 9th of May as well. But anyway, let me just show you this little part of this clip here. Oh yeah, he punches him now in the heart almost, really. Okay, and when Marty takes off when he shows him what's going on here, if they get to the point, okay, you can see where the shot was taken as well, right here in the heart. Okay, and this is the bulletproof vest here. Okay, the bulletproof vest. This is what I think is gonna happen. I think Donald Trump is gonna get shot in the heart, but he's gonna be wearing a bulletproof vest. Maybe he has a few days off of work. Okay, maybe he has to go to hospital and they make a whole big deal about it. Maybe they'll swear in um, Bowman, Vance. So we'll get the Dave Bowman reference in there for being president for a short period of time, and then maybe they'll resurrect Donald Trump, and the date that I think would probably be most likely would be 4 days later, which would be the 21st of May. Now that's all in the dollar bill, okay? That date is also in the dollar bill with what I'm going to show you in a minute. We're going to go to the dollar bill and I'll show you the decode for that in a minute. Okay, so this is lifted straight from Clint Eastwood, and Marty is playing Clint Eastwood in the film, okay, in Back to the Future. Okay, and Clint Eastwood is the man with no name in A Fistful of Dollars. Okay, now there's a lot more to this, and we've covered this in donkeys years ago videos about this stuff. Why? Because so much of this stuff is encoded in the dollar bill. Okay, and also during this there is a character in here, where is he, called Rubio, Benny Reeves, Rubio. Okay, Marco Rubio in this whole thing as well. Okay, oh dear. Uh-oh. And we've even got a Don in here. Okay, let's not bother going through, like, I should click it and just double check this because I haven't checked it yet. Okay, nothing majorly popping out there, but it's one of these things where it's like, oh yeah, Clint Eastwood is Joe, the man with no name. Okay, there it is. Aim for the heart. Aim for the heart. Okay, anyway, let's get to the point here. What we want to do is I want to show you the dollar bill, and I want to show you where this is in the dollar bill, and why 95 is kind of heavily encoded in this as well. Okay, so 95 and 195 is kind of the big encoding here. So don't forget, at the dance in Back to the Future 3 as well. Let's see if I've got that in here. This is the dance on September the 5th. Doc gets his hat shot off. Okay. There's going to be a reference to the dam, damning each other to hell here. Okay. Let's see. I can just get the shot here. Oh, he's already. Hang on. Oh, come on, Dan. Whoa. Okay, there we go. The hat gets shot off. Okay, so a headshot. Okay. This is really loud for some reason. And Marty has just saved him by throwing a pie dish that deflected the shot. Okay, let's see if we can go back just a little bit further. He grabs the pie dish that says Frisbee on it. Okay. Again, at this point, Doc and Marty are kind of trading places. Again, interesting trading places with the dollar bill. But they're kind of trading places, getting way too sidetracked. And the date here is 5/9, and then the date where Marty does his little bit here is, I believe, the 7th of September, so 7/9. Now, what is interesting about this is this will link us in with another Clint Eastwood film, which is In the Line of Fire. In fact, let's drop back here. I've got it up here. And Clint Eastwood just happens to be 95 years old at the minute as well. But In the Line of Fire, this is to do with protecting the president from being shot. Okay, and our big character in here that's going to connect back in with this is John Malkovich. Okay, and he is the assassin in this. Okay, and we've got some other connections with Rene Rousseau as well. It's just absolutely crazy. But if you look at the release date, 7/9, okay, 93. Now, what is interesting is that Donald Trump has just referenced his assassination attempt by putting up a gold statue, okay, in one of his golf courses, and that is all completely encoding the assassination stuff. Okay, let me see if I got a picture of that in here somewhere. I know I do, because it's part of right here it is. Okay, so he's just put this up, right, this statue, and if you read the Google on it, actually it might say down in here as well, the reason why this hand is up is it's referencing the Butler incident on 7/13, the earshot, okay, and his triumphant fist pump, right? Now he's installed this at Doral Golf Club, yeah. Now the other time, well, the next assassination attempt that he had after the fist pump, after the ear wound, was at the golf course again, okay, and that was on the 15th of September, 195 numerology, okay. So we've got something interesting going on here, that he's referencing the assassination basically twice by having this and at a golf course, okay, the fist pump fight and at a golf course. And the gold reference is just pretty bloody interesting with the 7-9, because the atomic number of gold is, well, I might have it in here. I thought I might have had it in here. The atomic number of gold is, I don't know why that is doing this now, 79, okay, 79, right? Donald Trump, okay, I believe is he 79 at the minute, okay. Anyway, what else do I have to say about this? There is, well, while we're on the, I haven't even got on to showing the dollar bill yet. I want to get onto that, but while we're on the topic of Back to the Future, okay, one more thing to note. In the scene that leads up to Doc getting shot, okay, the first time, okay, which is when Marty goes down to the Twin Pines Mall. The first time we see the clock reference there, it is 1:16 in the morning. Okay, it's 1:16. And basically, at the end of that little episode at the Twin Pines Mall, Doc is dead, or at least Marty thinks Doc is dead, and Marty has gone back in time. So it's 1:16 at the start of all that stuff, right? I'm wondering if I've got this number jump in here. While we're here, there it is. So from the golf course shooting, which is what is being, I think, is being encoded there. They're they're saying, go look at the golf course shooting now, okay? The attempt at the golf course, and look through to this next date potentially. 6/11, okay, is what's coming up. Okay, that is a huge date with Jurassic Liars. So JL's big date for the Seattle event. This thing here is a huge date for definitely something with Donald Trump, because if you watch the channel We Seek We Find, okay, he does a ton of stuff on 5/19 and 5/9 as well. Okay, so We Seek We Find is the channel you want to go watch for that. Okay. I'll leave it at that for this, but 6/11 through to the date there, okay, through to the 19th. So it's our date for the 19th for this event, with Donald Trump getting shot in the heart with a bulletproof vest on, and maybe Mark Rubio not being so lucky and getting shot in the head. Okay. Now, kind of losing my train of thought here already. What was I saying about this? let's see. Let's move on. Let's go on to doing this blooming. Let me show you the dollar bill because, like, we need to do this. So, what I'll do is, like, if you've not, I want to get through this fairly quickly, so I'm going to have to skirt over a lot of stuff, and we're not going to do it fully, right? I'm not going to do it fully, right? I'm just going to go over this very quickly. So if you've seen previous videos of my of decodes, what I've done up to this point, then this will probably make a fair bit of sense. To new people, this might not make much sense. Okay, dollar bill, right? Let's put a line in. In the dollar bill, if you look at my cursor, there's several different places you can fold the dollar bill. Okay, and there's little marker spots all around the dollar bill. See my cursor? Right here where the little owl is. Over here you can't see it, but there is a marker underneath there. There's a marker underneath here. There's a marker here, a marker here, so forth and so on. And what you get is not only can you fold the dollar bill there to get certain information out of the dollar bill, but you can also fold here and then kind of move that fold line up to match up with another fold line. Okay, bit of a convoluted way of trying to explain this, but let me just show you the first earshot Donald Trump shooting thing first of all, right? So that is, we've got that on. Let's draw a line through this fold marker here, which you can't really see, but it's right here. And we go across the other side of the dollar bill, where you can't really see the other one very easily, but it's there. And what you end up with is a line that kind of goes through the eyes here. Okay. Now, if I draw in where the ear should be on Washington, usually the ear starts at the point of the eye, so the ear would be here somewhere. And lo and behold, this line hits the top of the ear here, where supposedly Donald Trump got shot in his fake thing. Anyway, if we look at where the shot came from, which is this from over here somewhere, okay, we can now count up leaves and berries, right? And so if we start at the top here, we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then down here we've got 1 berry here and 1, 2, 3 leaves. Okay, so we have 713 for that shot to the ear. Okay, now with that being said, okay, also just one other thing, I refer to these leaves that are in the corners as the bunny ears. Okay, and in iPet Goat 2, one of those ears on the white rabbit that's in the scene with the Lily character, okay, in the classroom scene basically, there is a little gunshot hole on one of the bunny ears. So this is kind of interesting with the reference back to the dollar bill with that thing. Okay, let's get rid of some of that stuff, right? So we've got our 713 date in there. Now, I think he's going to survive this one, and there's going to be another assassination that will be the one that he doesn't survive, which will be later on this year. I'm not going to get into that right now. Somebody asked me to look at it. I can't remember who asked me to look at that. But there are several dates for later on this year that are in here as well for the potential next episode. Okay, after this potential episode. Okay, so let's go ahead now, and what I want to do, I'll show you where this other fold line is. Okay, down here. Now this fold line is actually in the $10 bill, and it's marked with a 1010. And if you look below this fold line, you have a 1 and a 0 and a 1 and a 0 here. So in the $10 bill, it's marked with the actual word 10 right here where my cursor is, and over here. and of course it's Hamilton in the $10 bill. And in fact, this actually gave us the shooting line for Charlie Kirk as well, okay, which was right here in the neck. Okay, anyway, this is also the dam fold. Okay, down the bottom of here, this where the necktie is, the neck scarf thing forms the water flowing over the dam. I could just draw it in very quickly because it is, you know, all this stuff is leading up to the Hoover Dam. Okay, let's do this. So this is the top of the dam here. This is the sides, okay, of, you know, the canyon sides here. So this forms the dam here, and then this is the water flowing over the dam when it breaks or breaking through the dam. Okay. Anyway, what we can do is we can actually, because I can grab a piece of this, so let's take a selection here, and I can grab this bottom part and imagine like we can imagine like we're folding on that line there, and then sort of concertinaing up the dollar bill like so, okay, and this potentially gives us a, what do I want to say? It potentially gives us several other date numbers that we can look at here now, okay, for later on in the year. So first of all, 1010 is a pretty interesting date for later on in the year. The 10th of October for his main death date, but there's also a couple other dates in here. So this has actually turned into a decode that I wasn't planning really on. Let me make this a little bit bigger here. So we've got the number 8 here, okay. We've also got the 1-1 inside there, so we've got August the 11th, maybe November the 8th right here. Okay, we've also got leaves and berries that we can look at to do with that as well. On this side we have the 1 here, which is the 11th again, and we have this, which actually, that plus this, if you see my other decodes, right, that actually forms again the 10-11 of the potential date for the Hoover Dam. So you can also look at the 11th of October as well, but I'm thinking if this side here is the reference to the Hoover Dam, then maybe this side here will be the reference to Donald Trump. Okay, so 8/11, or like I said, the 8th of November, which would be interesting for right before the Hoover Dam, like a few days before the Hoover Dam. Like if SHIT was to hit the fan, this would be interesting, it being a few days before the Hoover Dam going down as well. Okay. Also, and let's not just forget the 1010 as well. That's pretty big. Okay, and that is also referenced in that video with Charlie Kirk, 1010. In fact, that's what we were looking at, the zip line with him and the neck. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, this is also the letter I here. I mean, you could go with the 9, and you could maybe make this the letter B and do a 2-9 reference. So there's many different ways of, you know, looking at different numbers here. Anyway, let's get back to the date that we're looking at, right? Let's get rid of this stuff. And let's do a red line. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, the first thing is shot through the heart. If you recall, now this is the heart area here on Washington's chest where my cursor is. So what is interesting is we were looking at this before with this set of leaves and berries right here, and there is actually 5 berries and there's actually 9 leaves. Okay, it's not very obvious. It looks like there's 8, but there's actually 9 in here. And actually, if you go back to the old silver certificate where this is this image is kind of taken from, okay, or is at least on a different version of the dollar bill, you can clearly see that actually both sides of this are actually 5-9 references. There's five berries and 9 leaves on both sides of this in the older version of this dollar bill. Okay, anyway, we're not going to that right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line, shoot for the heart, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come from the center of this 1 here. Okay, now you'll notice something interesting about this shape over here. Okay, so I'm going from the center of the 1. If you look at the pattern underneath, we can kind of get the center of this. Okay, and then we can pull a line over and shoot for the heart here. Okay, now when we do this, okay, let's just write this in. So we have our 9 or 5-9 here, okay, with the leaves and berries, and we have our number 1 right here. Okay, so 1 or 5, 9, 1 or 1, 9, 5, read it backwards or whatever, we can get May 19th, right? Not too difficult. Now what is interesting about this statue that Donald Trump has just put up is it's called, what's it called? It's called Don Colossus, DC, Don Colossus. This reference to another shooting, or at least a reference to the last 2 assassination attempts. Not to mention, of course, the last assassination attempt was the same numerology. So it would be very interesting to have another assassination attempt on the same numerology. Okay. What more do I say about it? Okay. But what do I say about it? But you'll notice that this is in the shape of a shield or something. It looks like a bulletproof vest. Let's just cut to the chase, Dan. This shape looks like a bulletproof vest to a certain extent. It looks like something that's the sort of shape of the torso, a shield. Okay, and this thing, and you've got to remember the dam itself, the Hoover Dam itself, looks like a shield. Okay, a chest plate, okay, or a breastplate, whatever you want to call it, right? So this is interesting, and of course, you know, what we have with the leaves and berries here as well is the, you know, something that should be squirting out of the heart area. Okay. What else do I say about it, really? I think that's it for what I want to do on the decode out here. I haven't really thought about any other kind of things like with Mark Rubio or anything. Like, you could probably maybe go from the center of this again, and I don't know if there's any kind of reference over here that would take you to the middle of the forehead. I'm not really quite sure. What would the one over here be? Don't know. Maybe as the middle of the forehead there. I don't know. The third eye. Anyway, I'll show you some a couple other clips here as well, to do with In the Line of Fire. But this is again interesting with In the Line of Fire. Okay. This is also a 25 reference here, because this particular portion of this references back to the 25 penny piece, cent piece, okay, the quarter, okay, because this is a side, this is a portrait frame here, and this is the side portrait, and the guy here, this is Washington, okay, which is the front on portrait in the dollar bill here. This is a portrait frame, okay, this horseshoe looking thing. So this is the dollar bill portrait right here, which is Washington right here, and this is the side profile portrait of Washington, which is on the quarter. Okay, so that is on the quarter. So there is the potential of one. This could be 251 reference here as well. Again, kind of interesting. Okay, what else did I want to say about this? And also, you'll notice also there is also 2 leaves up here, 5 leaves here, and 1 berry. So 251, 512, or 521 reference right here as well with this. So this is why I say it would be interesting if you resurrected on the 21st of May. Okay, it's really late here. It's 1:24. I should already be in bed. Plus I've got a headache as well, but I really wanted to do this anyway. So that's the dollar bill stuff. Let's rattle through some of this other gear, and we'll be done. Okay, I say rattle through it. I mean, I've tried to rattle through it, but anyway, let's get off this. Come on. So we've already done quite a bit of this. Now we're going to kind of jump all over the place here because there's 2 or 3 little references. Like, I was looking for a reference, like I'd been looking at something else, and let me show you what I'd been looking at. Let's see if I've got it in here actually. This is, so we're going to go back to iPet Goat here, right? This is, and if this blanks out, I'm going to go, oh, it did blank out. Oh, son of a, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave that decode there for today, because I've got some more stuff now that ties in with plus I'm going to leave, every time I click one of these open now, for whatever reason, because I've got too many tabs open or whatever, I am going to lose a whole bunch of stuff. So what I'm going to say is this. Let's go back to, let's just rattle off a couple other little bits and pieces. So in the line of fire, let me show you the clips in the line of fire, and then we'll come back and do the number jumps with it later. This character here is Clint Eastwood. Right here now they're looking for the bad guy, which is John Malkovich, or however you want to say it, right? He's the assassin, and he's actually going to save Clint Eastwood. Okay. Now, at this point, this guy's going to get shot here. Okay. And this is Clint Eastwood's partner, Al, and he gets shot in the head. Now, he has a synchronicity with Marco Rubio from the actor who's playing that, who is, I got some of this stuff written down, so we'll just go through it rather than risk losing it. And if I get rid of a few of these tabs, this might actually work. So anyway, this guy, if I get rid of some tabs, this guy from, this is Dylan McDermott, okay, and from his birthday, which is 10/26/61, through to Mark Rubio, who's 5/28/71, is 3501 days. 3501. So if you read that number backwards, get rid of the 0, it's 153. Okay, and 153 is to do with the Vesica Pisces, yeah? Okay, it's the balance point. Technically speaking, that's where you want to be, right at that balance point between the physical and the metaphysical. yeah, but it's also a reference to rebirth as well, coming out of the system, out of the matrix, and it's also a reference to going into the matrix as well. Okay, being seduced by the matrix, right? So there's many different ways of looking at that, right? But anyway, this 153 happens to show up with Clint Eastwood, because Clint Eastwood, of course, is born on 531. So we have the same numerology. Okay, it's not the right order, but the same numerology for Clint Eastwood. Yeah, happens to be 95 right now. Let's see if we can do a number jump here. This is Clint Eastwood. Let's see if this will come up. Yes, it will. I don't know why this one didn't drop out on me, but this is Clint Eastwood's birthday through to 519. Note that it's 35053 days, right? Now, we had a reference to 3553 with the Newark airplane kind of crash thing that wasn't a crash, but there was a lamppost that got knocked over. Now remember that dollar bill. Remember, I haven't really explained this correctly, but right here in the old version of this dollar bill is basically this. Oops, undo. Basically, this right here is in the old version of the dollar bill with this 59 on it. I'll go to it and show you. But this is basically forms a lamppost right here, okay? It's an upside down lamppost, okay? If I was to draw it up the right way, yeah, like this, okay? And actually, we've got it like this. That's the lamppost, okay? This is the bottom of the post, and in that other dollar bill, what I'm going to show you in just a second, it actually comes up a stem here, and like this. So this kind of lamppost reference. It's not really a lamppost, it just looks a bit like a lamppost. Okay, and the big lamppost again is is the Space Needle, okay, and what we've just had is Mayday, which is a big post with a crown at the top, okay, and so this lamppost that got knocked off at or hit at Newark Airport when that plane came in, it's pretty interesting with the reference back to like the Pentagon and May time of year, and also the dollar bill. And let me show you that real quick, because we're going to be coming up on some other stuff here in a second. Where is my dollar bill? And I could actually get rid of some stuff. I did have a dollar bill in here. We'll just keep going. I don't know what, I can't remember what number jump I lost. Oh dear, I thought I had this. Look, we get rid of some stuff like Fistful of Dollars, we've done that. Okay, that was the release of Fistful of Dollars. It wasn't, this actually synchronized with something else, but I don't have the number jump up for it, so we're just going to dismiss that. Fistful of Dollars, we don't need that. Okay, we'll get onto that in just a minute. Let's see what else we got up here. We'll get onto the Gallaghers in a minute. Okay, we've got some really interesting stuff with them. This picture now, do we need this anymore? No. Do we need this with the statue stuff? No. But that was put up on, or at least it wasn't, it was put up sometime in April, and they dedicated it. This guy that dedicated it, we'll get onto it in a minute, Mark Burns. The dedication was on the 6th of May. We'll get onto that in just a minute though. We don't need the atomic, so the 7-9 stuff's pretty important with the In the Line of Fire release date. We'll get onto all this. Oh, I've got a ton of stuff in this Gallagher stuff. Here's the dollar bill. Okay, and we're going to come on to this dollar bill in just a second as well. But I feel like actually, maybe it's the other way. Here it is. Okay, so this is a silver certificate, and if you were to zoom in on this, you would clearly be able to see that there is actually, even though one of the leaves is kind of blocked a little bit, that this is 5959 in the references here with the leaves and berries. Now, as you can see, pretty interesting. It kind of looks like a lamppost. Okay, right. I don't know what else to say about it apart from it kind of looks like a lamppost. I guess if you were to draw a line through here, it comes somewhere through the chin. I don't know, this sort of between the 1 and the 1 here. I don't know if there's any kind of reference to something with that or not. I've not really looked into it. There are other markers on here that we talked years ago. I looked at this, so I don't know what currently is relevant to it. But anyway, you can see the lamppost here and why that is pretty important with the 59, the big 1 right there as well. Okay. Anyway, let us go back to this one because we're going to need this one in just a second as well. I'll show you some number jumps with it. Now, I've completely lost track of what I was talking about. Completely lost track. Ah, dear, Dan. Should we segue out of in the line of fire? What I'm annoyed now because I could have actually put that other number jump in. Let's go back to this. This is what I wanted to do, right? So this is Clint Eastwood's birthday. Through that, so this was the Newark Airport thing, which was a 729 reference with the runway that they were landing on was number 29, and the airport itself looked like the runways at least formed the number 7. Okay, and so in iPet Goat we had that. Oh, come on. I've got to reload this from the beginning again now. This is the problem when I have too big of a video, too much stuff in it. Anyway, when this apple rolls across the floor, okay, and splits, it goes past this C and 7 here, and I believe this is actually a reference to the aeroplane coming in on runway 29, which would be here at Newark, and the other 2 runways, 22 left and right here, form the 7, and then the actual terminal buildings form the C shape. So if you looked at the bird's eye view of Newark Airport, this is what you get. This looking like this, and this happened on 5-3. Okay, so that whole thing, which is it's a white wedding reference, 729. Okay, with the runway and the actual shape of the runways. So when you look at that, I say, okay, I'm going to go back now to 5-3 because Clint Eastwood is palindromic on 5-19 with 3-5-5-3. So 5-3 is an important date. So we'll go back to that airport thing, the airplane crash thing, and we'll have a look at what the numbers are here. 35037, and we'll click it and have a look what that is, and lo and behold, it's 153 pentagonal. Now don't forget, when the Pentagon got hit, it got hit, one of the references was lampposts getting knocked off. Okay, anyway, this 153, we're back with the 153 fish, we're back with Mark Rubio, we're back with Clint Eastwood himself with 153 numerology, 153 numerology, should I say. So it's just interesting, round in circles stuff, okay? Anyway, what I want to show you really is the guy that is in the film, the big main character that we want to talk about, which I don't know if I've got it in here, but let's put him in. Let's go back to the film and let's get John Malkovich in here. 12 December 9th, 53. Okay, 12/9/53. Okay, let's put him in. See if I've got a spare one here. 12/9. See if I can just type that in. 53. Okay, through to, let's go through to the 19th. Okay, through to the 19th. Kind of a big old number there. Let's click it and see what it is. 2907. Yeah, it's our white wedding date again. Yeah, 7/29 is the white wedding. Here is our white wedding date. Now don't forget, 3 days, 2 days, 3 days before the 19th is the 16th, which is like a double white wedding reference with the dates. Okay, so from the actual white wedding it will be, I have to write this in here, so from the actual white wedding, which was 7/29/81, okay, it's going to be 16363 days. Now this 16363 is a reference back to the white wedding. I'm not going to explain it, but in Lucas numbers, this is a gold reference. It's a golden ratio reference. It's an approximation of the golden ratio to do with these two numbers that are at the middle of, and it's not really a times, but at the middle of the it's a balance point in the Lucas sequence. Let's just leave it at that, right? And these two added up come to 29, and 29 is the 7th Lucas number, okay, and so forth and so on. Anyway, so without going over it a million times, this is like a double white wedding reference, and also the date that this is coming out on, 16363 days on from this, is the 16th of May. Okay, writing it the wrong way around there. But again, you can flip that around and make a 591, okay, or whatever way it goes. But you can read that backwards, 19th of May. So there's a what will I say, another reference to symmetry or reflectiveness or balance between these two dates as well, okay, which again is what the Vesica Piscis is. It's like a mirror between the two. It's that point of the mirror between the two sides of reality, okay, a balance point. So now what is interesting is I've been looking at some stuff actually. I don't know how I even got onto this, to be quite honest, but in iPet Goat, this apple rolling across the floor here. In fact, I tell you what I've been doing. I've been listening to Champagne Supernova for some reason, and I just decided to check the date of Champagne Supernova, the release date, which is today's date actually, 5/13. I think it was released in '96 maybe. So if you know what I'm talking about, Champagne Supernova, if you've heard of the band Oasis, okay, Oasis had a lot of big hits back in the 90s, and one of those big hits was Champagne Supernova and Wonderwall, okay, and think about Oasis being Vegas and Lake Mead and the Hoover Dam, yeah, Oasis in the desert. So think about that. Now think about what the Wonderwall is. Okay, the Wonderwall is the Hoover Dam. Now think about Champagne Supernova. One of the lyrics what is the lyric? It's something like, um, I don't know if it's walking down the hall like a cannonball or anyway, going down the hall like a cannonball. I can't even remember what the bloody lyrics completely are, but this running across the hall here like a cannonball, okay, is this apple. Now, Liam Gallagher, one half of Oasis, was married to Nicole Appleton, okay, and so Nicole Appleton, okay, so here's the apple here. She had blonde hair, I think blonde hair, brown eyes though, okay, and so now we can start looking at some of this stuff. You know, there's some connections back with the Gallaghers and Oasis with this apple here. Okay, actually, before I forgot something here as well, the film here, just on the topic of, if you look who the producer is, it's Jeff Apple for In the Line of Fire as well. Okay, so with that apple rolling again with the Line of Fire. Okay, Jeff Apple, and actually, if you look here, the production is Apple Rose, and in I Pet Goat, this has just come from, and the head, in her head here, or in her hair, she's got the rose here and the apple rose. Okay. Anyway, this thing comes across the floor here, and we've just had, so Oasis split, and we've just had the reunion tour from Oasis. Yeah, the reunion tour. Okay. So this Appleton reference with Nicole Appleton. Let me show you some stuff now that might blow your mind a little bit. I don't know. And if we come across any other stuff, this is the first one. This is her birthday. You can see it on the screen through to 5/8 or 5/9. 5/9 was the big date we were looking at. You know, like, ooh, could be 5/9 to get this heart shot. Okay, 187, palindromic again. Okay, or we can go back to the 8th as well, because this is pretty important. This 5/8 reference as well. So that was already looking interesting. And then if you do, I feel like Liam's in here somewhere. Where is he? Maybe that's what got deleted. Should we put Liam in? I can probably, in fact, we can go to this one. So this is, let's get rid of Malkovich now, and we'll put Liam Gallagher in. Okay, Liam Gallagher. Okay, this is what's interesting about this, right? And before I forget, he is September the 21st. I feel like he's 72. I think he's 72. We need to check that. And let's drop this down. I'm pretty sure he's 72 because that looks like the right date. Where the hell have I got it? It's right here, Dan. Just click on it and have a look. Yeah, September the 21st, 72. Now, this September the 21st is pretty darned interesting because the 12th here, or the 11th, okay, and we've had a reference on the 11th with a dude that died. Okay, so we're going to look at this dude in a minute, because I was thinking, oh, we need a reference for the 11th. So you see, from Liam Gallagher's birthday through to the 11th is 19591. Okay, so we have this reference back to the 19th of May with him, but we need a reference that now ties into 5/11. Well, I mean, Donald Trump came in on 11/5, so that's, something we'll look at in a minute as well. The number jump between him coming in and the 19th. We'll look at that in a minute. But we need a reference to either 511 or 512. And I wondered whether there would be some kind of crazy story about Liam Gallagher maybe doing something with Nicole Appleton, or some kind of, maybe they go on a talk show together or something, or do some kind of reunion thing as well. But anyway, we did have another character, and I'll show you the character actually, and I've got some number jumps for him as well, but my wife just happened to mention this guy passed away, Brandon Clark. Okay, played for the Memphis Grizzlies, and interestingly enough, obviously Memphis, Tennessee, you'd think about Elvis, the king of rock and roll, and again, very much a rock band, very much a sort of rock and roll band, Oasis. Okay. Anyway, I actually want to show you some number jumps with that guy. Maybe we should we? The problem is there's just so much to do. This guy died. The first thing to do, right, is so this reference back to Liam Gallagher now. Okay, and don't forget, Liam is also an abbreviation of William, and William and Bill. Bill's another abbreviation of William, and Bill and the dollar bill and Liam. And just out of interest, just out of interest as well, before I get off of this, is I think it's Natalie Appleton. I think, if I'm getting my stuff right, is the sister of Nicole, and she was married to Liam Howlett from The Prodigy, or still is, I think. Okay, anyway, just out of random curiosity, because The Prodigy shows up with a lot of the stuff as well. Okay, the dance band, The Prodigy. Okay, anyway, Brandon Clark, interesting with the Irish spelling there, at least what I call the Irish spelling. And if you look at the actual birthday to the death date, and you were just to switch May for September, okay, you'd have 9/11 in there, and you'd have May 19th. Okay, so you have September the 11th and May 19th if you just switch those things. So that's kind of interesting just off the bat, right? Now, if you do some of his other dates as well, let's do some of his other dates. So we've got him dying as a marker for Liam Gallagher. And now if you take the end of, this is the reunion, Oasis reunion tour end date, it's 177 days through to 5/19. If we now look at this dude's birthday through to, what was I going through to here? This is the other half of Oasis. This is Noel's birthday. Okay, so the reunion, that flower coming up from the split of Oasis, with the Apple reference there. Okay, right. 10707 days. So that was already pretty interesting, right? Let's get rid of those two. That way we can clear this out a little bit, so we're not get this one out of the way as well. So that was interesting. And then, and apologies, like I hope people are looking at these dates and making sure I'm putting them in the right way around, because I noticed earlier I put two dates in the wrong way around, and I'm looking at numbers thinking this, that, and the other, and finally realised, oops, that's around the wrong way. Anyway, what is this date here? I cannot remember for the life of me. This is out of his Wikipedia page. I think this is his debut, 2400 days. And this other date here is when they Memphis sort of did the sort of contract work or got him trade, was going to trade him. Okay, so they announced they were going to take him. 2500 days. So already, when you start seeing stuff like that, that starts looking interesting as well. Okay, 24. Obviously, 25 is a big number with Diana's train. 24 hours completion of a cycle. 12 o'clock hour. Blah blah blah. We can get rid of those two lots. And then I think we're done. I think there was one more thing with him, but I can't remember what it was. Who knows? Anyway, we'll see if I get a minute, I'll spend a bit more time on it. I'm just overwhelmed at the minute with references. I don't think there's anything else in here. Anyway, we don't need to. Let's get off of him. But anyway, there is going to be another Clark reference here in a minute. So it's interesting that this, well, and obviously Brandon with Joe there, and Eastwood with Joe, and then this is going to be Joe Biden. Okay, this is going to be marginally interesting here in a minute with another little reference that we'll do while we're on the subject of all this. Okay, this is Appleton's son with Liam. Gene. Oh yes, we got the Gene in there. And his birthday, July the 2nd, 2001. I think I've got a number jump for that. See if I can't find it first. I know he's in here somewhere. Darn it, we're going to have to find that in a minute. Can't remember if we had anything else with her. I think there's the sister. Yeah. Okay. Yes, married to. And this is up. It's clicked because I've looked at it before with Liam Howlett. Dear oh dear. Okay. I think we can just go ahead and get rid of her for now. So there's our Appleton, our Apple reference. There was Noel. Remember, May 29th, 67. I don't know if I've got anything else for Noel. That's a no. Okay. This is. Well, we'll get rid of some of these tabs. This is Donald Trump going through from winning the election to 519. 561. Now remember, again, the White Wedding reference with Pierce Brosnan is on the 16th of May. Backwards numbers there. 33rd triangular. That's pretty nice, isn't it? Was there anything else in there as well? 33rd triangular. Not really. Okay, so that's mental. We can get rid of that now. Do we want this to get rid of that crud? Don Colossus, DC. Okay, DC. Right, what else we got? This is from. Did we already do this? I can't remember if we did this, but this is from. I feel like we did this already, didn't we? From the golf course. Okay. No, I don't know if we did. From the golf course date of the assassination attempt at the golf course through to the erection of, not the erection, the dedication of Don Colossus, 599 days, okay, the end date on. So this would have been like, if I'd seen this before, I'd be like going, oh yeah, 59, it's definitely on. Anyway, 599, let's look at this. 109 prime, but what's more interesting to me is this composite. The 599 composite number is 7 529 again. 729, the White Wedding. Okay, crazy stuff. Get rid of that. What is this? Oh, bloody hell. Ah, dear, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Oh, let's just do something completely random for one more second. Dom Perignon, okay, and I was just, because we're on the Champagne Supernova Day. Champagne Supernova is actually, I believe this is really a reference to the dam, okay, but don't forget the shield is also on the bottle of Dom Perignon, and also when you are, so let's think about this with birth. Now, people don't tend to have a bottle of champagne when somebody is born, but when you birth a ship, this thing is usually used when you win a race or something. They usually spray champagne over, so it marks the beginning of something or the end of something or winning something, yada yada yada. The Champagne Supernova. Also in the dollar bill, when you look at the dollar bill, and let's get rid of some of this a minute. Let's go all the way back, right, to this. What you're going to notice is the idea of the Champagne Supernova is, if I fold that back up, when the dam breaks open, you're going to have this like huge foam thing, and also the top of this, like this, the nuclear blast going off, like a supernova, a star blowing up, okay, which is like a reference to a nuclear bomb going off, like a star exploding, yeah, a nuke. The Champagne Supernova is like this thing blowing, okay, boom, the head pops out, yeah, and that's when you open a bottle of champagne, the head pops out, for, like the cork pops out, the head pops out first, yeah, and then there's a flow of water. Okay, so there's lots of different references, but the Dom Perignon obviously connecting back in with that, and today's date, Champagne Supernova. Okay, just little things that I wanted to re-mention as we went through this. Okay, note the shield on there. I've talked about this to do with the dam before as well, because of the dam face being like the shield, and because Dom Perignon's in tons and tons of music videos maybe referencing the Hoover Dam. Okay. Oh my darling Clementine. Well, let's talk about this as well before we get back on these number jumps. During this scene in Back to the Future at the dance, right before this, they're playing Oh my darling Clementine. Okay. Now, if you look at so, what was funny about when I noticed that, I'm like, with the bell that that Donald Trump just got. He just got the bell, okay, and there's an old nursery rhyme. So there's Oh My Darling Clementine playing in the background, but there's an old nursery rhyme in England called, oh dear, The Bells of St. Clement's, okay. Oranges and lemons, yeah, oranges, the orange man, okay, and the lemon. Oh dear, the lemon. Oh dear. Okay, so oranges and lemons, says the bells of St. Clement's. Okay, and then you owe me 5 farthings, says the bells of St. Martin's. Marty. When will you pay? When will you pay me? Says the bells of Old Bailey. And so it goes on until you get right to the end. Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Now don't forget that dollar bill, that candlestick, or well, I call it the lamppost, but again, you think about the candlestick. Okay, here comes a candle to light you to bed, and here comes the chopper to chop off your head. Okay, so that's kind of ominous with this Clement's connection. And I don't know why I ended up on this, but Clement Clarke Moore and we will look at something else as well. I think there might be. Boy, I'm just trying to think about another one of Liam's kids. But Clement Clark Moore, some kind of writer. Anyway, I was like, well, seeing as it was the first thing that popped up, and it had this Clark reference like we saw with Brandon Clark, and the Clement reference with the bells of St. Clement, and then Clementine, oh my darling Clementine, playing in the scene, and Back to the Future there. See, this is a terrible rabbit hole, right? Anyway, his birthday, July 15th, 1779. So, okay, it's got the 79 in there. So I'm like, okay, I've got to check it, just randomly. Okay, so I put it in through to 519. I mean, what are the chances that this comes out at 90159 with the 159 numerology re-referenced here with the number jump? I'm just like, that is nuts. That's absolutely crazy. Anyway, let's get rid of some of that. There was something to do with one of his books, A Visit from Santa or something. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Okay. What was this one? 6/14/41. This is this let's go back to this, right? This is, I remember what this is now. So this is an old song. Look, published 1884. So this is old. So there's no real sort of like proper date for it. Apart from Bing Crosby brought it out, and I just thought this is interesting because it was Donald Trump's birthday. Apart from it was 1941, not 46. So this is kind of the first time it went into the charts. Okay, look at this. The rewritten lyrics include a reference to Gene Autry. Anyway, this date here, this is this date, through to when Donald Trump didn't get the bell on 4/28, 31,000 on the nose. I don't know if you 39,999, but this is just interesting. This 31 reference, because I believe there's another 30. I don't know if I've still got it in here, but there's another reference to 13 or 13, 13 or 31, 13 or something like that coming up. Maybe if I've still got it in here. But anyway, just interesting. Pretty sure that was the date. I'm getting completely confused with my dates right now, but I'm pretty sure that's when he got the bell. It's the bells of St. Clement's and Oh My Darling Clementine. Okay? Done with that crud. Get it out. Gone. Gone. Chop off your head. 7/9/93. This was In the Line of Fire. Okay. Again, 123. I think I've got another number jump in here that's a 123 reference as well. Don't know if it's still in here. May do it in another video if it's not in here and something does happen. We'll go back through all this stuff. Anyway, this number itself I don't think is particularly interesting. No, apart from it's 123. And if you back up to 007's birthday, okay, Pierce Brosnan, you'll also notice that we are another big, just straight, 12,000 days. Okay, so that's just always interesting when those kind of numbers come up, right? Just big whole numbers. And this is the white wedding date that's re-referenced with the 163 stuff. Okay, and back to the white wedding, the actual white wedding. Okay, so that is pretty darn interesting for sure. What else have I got in here? Oh, now this one will blow your mind. This is Liam Gallagher. So in keeping with the white wedding, it would make sense to check Nicole Appleton and Liam Gallagher's wedding date, Valentine's Day, February the 14th, 2008. Now check this out. from that date through to 5/9, okay, which was our date that we were like, oh yeah, this could be the date for Donald Trump. Now we've moved it on to the 19th. 6660 days. Now that synchronizes perfectly, knock that 0 off, from the ear wound event through to 5/9. Remember, we were looking at this, the 666. So from their wedding, okay, through to 5, this exact, it's 666. That's just absolutely bonkers. That is just absolutely bonkers. Their wedding date through to 5/9, 6660. Donald Trump's ear wound through to 5/9, 666. Just absolutely bonkers. Okay, more stuff gone. Look at, we're getting down now. We don't need that either. Get rid of that. Can't remember what was this? I actually cannot remember what the hell that was. And it's we might get back onto that. I can't remember for the life of me what that is now. Seems like it could be something fairly obvious. Okay. Well, anyway, what else have we got in here? Gene, did we do the stuff with his birthday through? July the 2nd, 2001. I feel like it might be down this end somewhere. Anyway, this is the 321 stuff. Okay, 321. Right. So we had that other 321 stuff, which was 123, the other way around, 12003. Okay, now check this out. From the end of the tour, the reunion tour, Oasis reunion tour, to 10/10/321. Okay, so this was this other date we looked at in the dollar bill that could potentially be for Donald Trump. Okay, but even if it isn't, it still references back to an assassination attempt. Okay, it references back with Charlie Kirk and also Donald Trump's ear wound. So either way, it's interesting. Let's drop this back to the 19th. Here is our 177. Okay, 177. Did I already show this? I feel like we showed this, but that was our one. Now, off the top of my head, I can't remember what it exactly was, but this was the 177 that tied in with what's his name? What's his name? You know, that guy. I've got a bit of paper here somewhere. Dear oh dear, Dan. Painful. Dylan McDermott. Okay. No, it wasn't Dylan McDermott. What was the 177 stuff? I can't remember. I don't have all the stuff written down either. I've only got half the stuff written down. Maybe it's still in here. Hang on. I need some like elevator music for in between this stuff. Okay. Well, maybe it isn't in here, but if I didn't already do it, darn it. Anyway, there was another reference to 177. I don't have the bit of paper. I don't even know if I've got it written down on a bit of paper. So there. So we've just lost. Can't remember what it was. I know this is painful when I have to do this, but there's just literally so much stuff on this. It just is really overwhelming. I mean, this should be like about 10 little videos at least. Oh, I don't know what I did with it, guys. Well, whatever. Maybe we will come across it, but 177, this did tie in with something else, which I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. It was a bigger... I think maybe it was that Brandon guy, Brandon Clark. Maybe he had the 177 stuff and I deleted the thing, so we might have already done it. Oh dear, get rid of that. Okay, this is the start of the reunion tour through to 519. Let me show you. This is 319. Read that in reverse, it's pi. Remember, the pie dish saves Doc when he's about to get shot in the head, okay? Or shot somewhere, but... So, there's a reference there to that dollar bill, and don't forget that dollar bill. Let me show you that dollar bill. Where would it be? Up here somewhere, and then we'll be done with that. Remember that is, if you look at this, it says 1 here, okay, and it's stylized to the point where you can get 613 out of it, or 61E, and you rotate that around, and that gives you your 319. Okay, so I've shown you this before. Notice the serpent head at the top, the snake, and also the owl down here, and this flips around. Now remember, the little owl is sitting somewhere right here, okay, as this shooting thing may happen, okay. So there may be a reference to an owl to do with the name of the shooter, or just something to do with owl might show up to do with this whole thing, okay. I don't know what else to say about it. Maybe the name of the guy's owl, you know, got the owl in it, or I don't know, maybe something else connects with it, okay, with owl. So that might be something that happens as well. There might be an owl connection to do with the shooter, or something, or to do with the body armor, or something. Who knows? Okay. Anyway, but there's the owl there, and this has to flip around. And coincidentally, the snake then is down at the bottom. Coincidentally, the name. Let's get rid of this now. Don't need that now. The name Galaga. Oh my gosh, we've still got to do war games yet, and there's still a bunch of stuff with this. Come on, I had... Oh, and I still haven't talked about that guy. I don't think I've even talked about the... Oh dear, oh dear. I thought I had... Hang on. I really need to read these as I just go across. Hang on. Right. We don't need this dude anymore. Look, let's get rid of that. Patsy, we're going to have to talk about her in a minute. We still got to do this dude here. Gallagher. What does the surname Gallagher mean? Okay. Guess where it's from? It's from Ireland, County Donegal. Donegal. Donny. Okay. And it just means foreign help, something like that, meaning stranger or foreigner and help. There's a snake at the bottom of this. Okay, just a little marginal reference there. It's underneath the black lion. Yeah, black lion, I think. Okay, and there's some clover leaves and some other stuff on there and whatnot. Anyway, just thought that was maybe worth mentioning, just because the fact it's from Donegal. And also the name Gallagher leads us on to a computer game, which we're going to talk about in War Games here in just a second as well. This computer game, Gallagher, in War Games. You won't believe the connections with that as well, because what's Donald Trump doing right now? He's essentially kind of playing War Games. Okay, and don't forget, in War Games, the two places that get hit, Seattle, okay, and also Las Vegas. Or are gonna get hit, sorry. Are gonna get hit. Okay. What else do we have here? I want to... Let's go get the rest of these number jumps done. We can get rid of that one. So that was Nicole through to 5-8. Okay, and there's another reference through to 5-8 for something. Okay, or through to 5-8 or 5-9. Okay, that's what's important about that. This also goes through to 5-9. Okay, the 187, the murder, death, kill number. Liam Gallagher. Now note his birthday, 9/21, happens to match up with... Where is Where's this dude? Come on. Mark Burns. Okay, Mark Burns. Where is Mark Burns? Here he is. 9/21/79. Okay. Mark Burns 9/21. I can't write it. 9/21. Liam Gallagher 9/21. Interesting stuff, eh? What else to say? I don't know how many years apart are they. He was, what did I say? He's 72, 79. So 7 years apart. Marginally interesting as well. What else we got? So here, so yeah, we've done this. So this is on that dollar bill. Okay, this is the 7/4, the start of the reunion tour. Notice the 7/4 as well is pretty interesting itself, through to 5/19, 3/19, pi, reverse, blah blah blah. Okay. Champagne Supernova, May 13th. I don't know if there's anything I really want to say much more about that. We'll just get off of that. This was the release of Champagne Supernova, through to the 11th, which was again Noel Gallagher's 195, and he's singing that song. Okay. Again 10955. So that is pretty darn interesting as well, with the sort of how everything ties together. A big cobweb of intertying, interlaced stuff, right? I think we can get rid of that one as well. We don't need to go back on that. We've done the start and end dates for the tour. What else have we got here? This is Charlie Kirk. Why did I go through? Oh, the 14th. Now, there was something interesting. Now I can't remember. Oh, darn it. I don't have the number jump in here, and I've deleted it. But what I'll tell you was, and I can't remember. This is pretty lousy. I can't remember what it was from this date, but from this date, this took us to, and it might have been Champagne Supernova. Well, I'll put it in just a second. But note that on this year, on the 14th of November, Charlie Kirk would have been 33 years old, right? Now let me put in, see. Now you see that's Champagne. The release of Champagne Supernova was 1/1/1/1/1, and it comes out onto Charlie Kirk's 33rd, would have been 33rd birthday. I just thought that was interesting as well. Right, get off of that. Okay, finally, maybe we finally. Oh no, and it's gone and got rid of it. You bugger. Okay, so was this? Okay, let's put him in. Finally, back to this Gene character, right? With Nicole, right? So this is in iPet Go, right? So 7/2/2001. Let's put it in. I don't know why it decided to wipe that one. The other one, you know. 7/2/2001. Now, this is what, again, if I do this again to that 5/11 date, which was our 195 with Liam there. 9080. 98, the 98 reference, when the Queen dies, okay, 98. Okay, that is a big date in our Queen's Cross chart, okay. So this is sort of very ominous with the death of a figurehead. Okay. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Was that, what is the 19th? Was that interesting as well? Look at that for the resurrection, 1990, 99. That 99 is a balance number, and it also references in those cycles that I talk about all the time. It also references the number 18 because that's the first reduction of the 99 twins that are in all of those cycles. And then again, we're on this again here. Okay, and I don't know if this is interesting. Let's just see this 78th pentagonal. Don't really have anything for that. Probably could find some kind of connection, but whatever. I think we're pretty much done. Yes, 921, the same as Liam. Okay. Don't know if there was anything else I wanted to mention about that. What else we got here? Okay, now we're just going to start. We're just losing stuff. Darn it, darn it, darn it. I want to show you, I want to do the, let's do the war game stuff really quickly. That we've done. What's this one? This is 713, which is the earshot through to Don Colossus. Okay, 1 year, 297 days, again with the White Wedding, right? We've done that. What was this? 13 days on. Oh dear. I think we were just 13 days on from, let me just show you. From the actual statue. It's 13 days on. Remember we had that 13 earlier, the 13 reference. And then what was this one? 9/21/62. Oh geez. I think that's another one of Liam's. No, this is war game. This is something to do with war games. I'll tell you who this is. 321 is what do we call it? Matthew Broderick. Okay. I just thought this was interesting. Through to Liam Gallagher's birthday was 3838. I didn't really have much for it apart from it was just interesting. And when we go to war games, I feel like, was there something interesting here? I don't think this was interesting either. This is the it's one of the releases of it. No. Something that wasn't interesting finally, but what is interesting in war games, let me show you the clip. So this game, Gallagher, is Matthew Broderick, who is David in War Games, is playing on this game. I've got a couple of shots of him playing on this game right here. We get back to this 5-8. So remember I was showing you Nicole had the 187 palindromic number that could go to 5-8. 5-8-26. So I thought that was interesting, seeing as we were on, 5-8-26, and that's the final shot of him in this scene. Okay, and the the reflection with the shooting and the on the head there and everything else. Okay, I haven't really run the numbers from going from 5-8 through to maybe 10-10 or something and seeing if there's anything interesting, but this game is also played here, and these numbers are super duper interesting. These numbers are just absolutely mental, and here we have the 6-5 reference up here with the high score. Again, I'm just thinking of Don Colossus, alright. Anyway, I want to go through these numbers real quick, right? 364, 222, and 61, and then a 0, right? And I'll show you why these connect back, what they connect to. This is pretty mental as well. So we need to get off of this. Let's put chart 1 on. No, we don't save that now. We're done with that. So the first thing is, let's do this one, 364. It's in the 11th column, right? And it's 511, basically. Now remember all our stuff with, remember, Liam Gallagher was our 159 on that date, okay, right? Palindromic number on the 11th of May. So that number 1 is already nuts. The game is Gallagher, and Liam Gallagher is referencing back to that, and that's also when Don got in as well. Okay, 11.5. Now, the other number, 222. 222 down here. This is a total for the 8 column, and 810. Now remember, we had that on the dollar bill, right? Now I wish I got the dollar bill thing, but remember, 810 literally was one side of the dollar bill. You know, we had this, and then the smaller thing down here, and then on the other side we had the, you know, which kind of looks, that actually makes 810. It doesn't look like it. It looks like an 88 as well, coincidentally with Donald Trump. But this was the side, and then Washington was here with his head, and remember, bringing that shot down through from there. Okay, but this actually forms the number 10 here. It's basically like this, and then this was 8. That makes sense. So 810 is just absolutely crazy that is just right there. Okay, get rid of that crud. And then the final number, what was the final number? The final number was 61.0. Well, if we look right here, 610 is right here, and this is in the 15th, is the 15th Fibonacci. Now, if you understand something about the Fibonacci sequence, you'll know that it starts on a 0. Mathematicians start on a 0 because of how they do their bloody formula for it. But if this was actually the cycle, this 0 would actually be a 9. Okay, and that's where you get your 911 at the start of, it's basically the end and the beginning of the Fibonacci cycle. Okay, anyway, if you convert that in there, you'll see now why that number is so ominous, because it's a 9 1 5 reference, 9 1 5, and so you can read that number backwards. Yeah, boom, 519. So that is pretty, that was definitely worth showing you. Okay, yeah, pretty crazy, really, thinking about it, you know. I haven't really spent a lot of time looking at that, but you know, and seeing whether there's any kind of crazy, see, as he's playing it, you see where the reflections are and everything. There well maybe more to that. Oh, well, it would have been better if it had been, that actually would, oh, that is actually crazy. I've just noticed that. Look at that. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And look at this, 3771. That is absolutely mental, because that would be on the right side for the heart. You know, as we're looking at the reflection here. Holy crap. That is absolutely crazy. That should probably be a video by itself. There is some 371 stuff as well. That is absolutely crazy. There you go. This is actually where he's with old Jennifer Mack, or whatever the hell her name is. The Big Mac. La Big Mac. Yeah, that is nuts. Man, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Okay, well, again, that's interesting with his this relation back with the earshot as well. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I think that we've pretty much done everything. Boy, oh boy. I feel like we haven't done all of the kiddies yet. There was some more stuff with. I know there was, like, here's one. Let's see if this will stay up. Yay! Okay. This is, which kid is this? I think this is Lennon Gallagher. So this is with his, I think this is with Patsy. Okay, this kid with Patsy. From Lennon Gallagher's birthday through to 9/11, 7 to 9 days. It's crazy, isn't it? Patsy Kensit. I'm pretty sure that's the other date that I had in there that I couldn't figure out, was 4th of March 68. Did I just get rid of whatever that was? I can't remember. No, but anyway, she does have. Hang on a minute. Where was we at? Bloody hell, Dan, come on. She does have the blonde hair and blue eyes, or at least, yeah, they kind of look blue. I actually can't remember if there was something with this. Look at this. Blame it on the bellboy. Grace of my heart. So there probably is a number jump. Wouldn't surprise me if this connects back to Donald Trump, or, you know, there'll be something with her numbers, I'm sure. Okay, anyway, I think we've done everything. We redid this one in, and there was another kid as well. I can't remember what the other kid was called, but I think it's Molly something. Don't tell. No, I don't know. Let's just leave it there. One more thing. In Line of Fire, okay, Rene Rousseau is in Line of Fire as well. Okay, Rene Rousseau is also in The Thomas Crown Affair. Okay, with Pierce Brosnan. Yeah, and this whole idea of the crown, and the crown being the Vesca Pisces, and the crown is the rebirth, and the crown is also the white wedding, yada yada yada. Okay. Lots of different references in there for sure. There is a Rene Rousseau and Mark Rubio. There is a synchronicity there with those two through to Pierce Brosnan. I think Mark Rubio is 20077 days and Rene Rousseau is 277. Also, Rene Rousseau is an RR 1818. Brandon Clark, I believe, to 9/11 was 1818, and that kind of tied us also back in with Eli and Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, the 1818. Okay, so you can go around in circles with this stuff, right? But I just wanted to mention that whole thing because it kind of ties those two films together with Rene Rousseau, and I think I feel like there was some other number jumps with Rene Rousseau as well. I mean, I've got several pages of stuff here. Several pages of bits and pieces. I got a lot of. There's some other 9/7 stuff as well, which was like from the Thomas Crown Affair through to maybe the 15th or something. Was, I feel like saying 9779 palindromic. You know, so there's a whole bunch of little bits and pieces in here. Even just like the Crown heist at, like the Thomas Crown Affair, but the Crown heist at the Louvre, which was on the 19th of no, when was that? The 19th of October last year, 25. I believe that was 213 days through to 519. So there's just tons. There's still tons of stuff that I could talk about. You know, I'm just looking through to make sure there wasn't anything that was majorly crazy interesting. I think we've pretty much done everything. Goodness knows how long that video is. But yeah, for sure, very interesting stuff. I think as well, don't quote me on this though, I might be well wrong on this, but I think Leah Thomas Thompson, what the hell's her name, plays Lorraine in Back to the Future. I'm pretty sure she's a 531 birthday. And I also think, but don't quote me on it either, there is a 531 reference with Titanic as well. Maybe to a launch date, or it might have been one of the other ships that, one of those other ships that were identical to Titanic supposedly, that might have been launched on 531. I can't remember off the top of my head. Too many dates, too many numbers, too much stuff, and I'm just not. My brain is just not configured for all this stuff really. I like just looking at patterns and spotting stuff rather than trying to remember bunches and bunches of dates. So I'm leaving it there. Thanks for watching. If you made it all the way through this blooming video, sorry it was all over the place. It's just, you know, and I'm sure I've forgotten a bunch of stuff out of here as well. Like, you know, there's a lot of little bits and pieces probably that also I should have talked about, but I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for watching. Again, the iPet goat stuff just keeps on giving. Again, this reference with Oasis with this whole thing as well now. Okay, and don't forget the 007 is there as well. Oh dear. The crowning event, Thomas Crown. You know, so it's just absolutely nuts. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on. I just actually want to make sure. Actually, one last thing. In the line of fire, we probably should have gone for all the names and that were in there as well, but there's 2 shots, and Clint Eastwood takes one. Okay, play a second of this. Which it looks like he's maybe going to take it. He references to getting his, feels like his ribs are broken later on in this. So there's that. Oh yeah, look right here. So 1 to the heart right there. Okay, aim for the heart. And then one of these dudes here. What else we got? Somebody else is now going to get shot in the head. This guy right here. We don't need to see it, but he's going to get shot, I'm pretty sure, in the head. Let's just see it. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. No, maybe he does, maybe it's just in the chest. I don't know. But anyway, so there we go. Yeah, thanks for watching. In the line of fire. Donald Trump, will he get a shot to the heart on 5/19? It won't kill him. He'll have a bulletproof vest on. Maybe Mark Rubio gets shot and killed at the same event. Some kind of owl reference in it. Probably maybe to do with the shooter or the bulletproof vest or something. Something that references to owl. And then maybe Donald Trump resurrects. Maybe he has to go into hospital for a few days. and maybe they hand the reins over to Vance for Bowman for a few days, and meantime, and then Donald Trump resurrects 4 days later on the 21st. That would